stay connected with our North Carolina residents. Programming, we're not allowed to do programming in person because of social distancing. Governor Cooper of North Carolina has a stay-at-home order for the entire state. So we have to figure out a different way to reach our residents, as well as partnerships that have already been established and that have already planned for our educational programs. So that's when virtual programming comes in hand.
So Kelsey and I kind of put our thinking caps together to figure out a way to best reach people utilizing social media. And so we came up with this social media strategy, Extension Extended. And what that kind of looks like is we're Extension, we're already doing good work in the community, but how can we extend that, virtually through social media? And so the overall overarching strategy is Extension Extended, and how can we extend ourselves to the residents of North Carolina to ensure that they are getting the programming that they need, that we're addressing their concerns during COVID-19. We do not want to miss an opportunity to be impactful. You don't want COVID-19 to pass and you realize we didn't do all that we could for the residents of North Carolina, for the residents of Texas, or wherever you may be right now. You don't want to not extend yourselves in a way to make sure that all of their needs and concerns are met during this time.
So our goal, we're communicators, we're public relations practitioners. We love measuring. We love a good measurement and trying to make sure that we can track the progress of any strategy that we implement. So our associate dean and extension administrator, Dr. Rosalind Dale, and our associate director, Dr. Claudette Smith, came to us and was like, hey, we want to maximize this time. Yes, we're in a pandemic, but let's maximize the visibility of Cooperative Extension. We're the best kept secret. Let's change that narrative and become more visible in the time that North Carolina residents need us. So our overarching goal is to maximize the visibility of Cooperative Extension at A&T while stakeholders are practicing social distancing. And some of our objectives, again, as I mentioned before, we already have a social media strategies that's already being implemented. Courtney's a little different from mine because SNAP and FNIP, our fiscal year is a little different, but nevertheless, we already had some strategies implemented. So we wanted to increase how the number of times we are posting. We're sharing content from other people. We're sharing content from each other. We're sharing content from other Cooperative Extension centers in North Carolina, from other Cooperative Extension organizations in other states. So we decided to up our posts by 7 to 8 posts per month, because we average around each about 15 posts a month. And then we wanted to increase our overall reach as well as engagement. So some of our strategies, we wanted to promote healthy eating, as well as promote social distancing behaviors. What does that look like? We keep hearing that in the news and on the media and in social media, social distancing. What does that actually mean, and what does that look like in application? So giving some tips about how our citizens can practice social distancing. And then as well as providing indirect education in every area in the unit of Cooperative Extension. So that's ag and natural resources, 4-H, financial management, nutrition and wellness, and then also creating interactive and engaging content so that our citizens know that we care. It's just not a post. They can ask questions, they can interact, they can participate and be a part of the narrative of how we are helping North Carolina and giving them tools that they can use during the pandemic.
So, so under our overall strategy, we have a few tactics, and these are kind of our ways of being able to collect the information that we're trying to share, but also some of our information is widespread, right? Because cooperative Extension does it all. So we tried to kind of condense it into a couple of different topics so that we can make it, okay, this Peace needs to go with learning with extension, solutions unleashed. And so to get started, we have learning with extension, which is providing the indirect education that Kelsey was just talking about with agriculture 4-H in all of our program areas. Solutions unleashed is basically where we are addressing the issues that we're having right now. So I can't go to the grocery store because everyone is buying up all the meat. So what do I cook? So we have a couple of, documents that address meatless food options or recipes and things of that nature. Our optimal moments, we also want to address the fact that COVID-19 is a very, very mentally draining, emotionally draining time. People are at home that aren't used to being at home. People are transitioning to working from home with their children. How do I manage all of this? And so the optimal moments is a way to provide those stress-free tips and activities with the family that people can practice social distancing, but we don't have to completely disconnect with the world. And those disconnections can send certain people spiraling out of control. And so with our optimal moments, we're trying to really touch into that human aspect of this, because I hear a lot of people talking numbers. I hear a lot of people talking about businesses, and that's all great and good, but there's a human side of this that's being impacted. And as Cooperative Extension, it is our job and our duty to make sure that we are addressing that concerns for our citizens.
So Extension Open Mic is having a dialogue and a discussion with our residents, having relevant topics. So if the cattle, we want to know how, if I can't get to the place where I was going to get the hay for my cattle and my horses, what can I do? Having ideas. I haven't gardened ever in my life. So having an open mic session to have that discussion with our community's gardening coordinator. So Extension Open Mic is to have that interaction with the North Carolina residents, whether via a Twitter chat or a Facebook Live. Home Connections is one of Courtney's our favorite. So it's everything that has to do at home. We are all at home. The kids are at home. Our co-workers, as they call it, dogs, kids, spouses, partners are all at home with us. So what does that mean? So if we can't find any hand sanitizer, having tutorials and how-to on how you can create your own family exercises. It's also spring outside. I know for myself, I have a lot of allergies. So me trying to get out since the gym is closed is kind of difficult. So having ideas of how the family can all get active while we are inside, as well as recipes, healthy recipes, and using things that you already have in your pantry so you don't have to go out as often to the grocery store. And North Carolina Connected is providing updates from the community to our residents throughout North Carolina. So some people in North Carolina didn't know that the farmers markets were still open. That they have, limited hours, but giving information like that. The schools are doing not summer meals, but they're doing meals at mealtime since the kids are not in school, because food insecurity is a big thing. So times where we can give information that they can go to the school and pick up a lunch or a breakfast.
So that brings us to branding, because we all know with a campaign, with a strategy, we need to brand it because it's not just about getting the information out there, but getting the information out there in a way that people recognize that this is we're doing it. And so we came up with a couple of different things, starting with our logo. We got in touch with our good people over at AdCom. They got us a couple of logos together. We also have some templates together where all of the information that we're gathering from the specialists, from the county agents, we're able to put it on a central document that looks nice. We can put it on the website and it all looks the same. We're not getting a document that looks like this from one person and then a document that looks like that. That's not good for our brand, what we're trying to do with our overall campaign. So here are our different branded logos that we have for Extension Extended. We have the North Carolina state logo outline on the background, so it kind of lets them know that this is for North Carolina, even though we want everyone to be able to look and see what's going on with Extension. This is for North Carolina. So those are our logos. And here are our templates, and we have one for like Twitter and Instagram, and another that could be used for other documents. And so we wanted to make it easy to transition from that website and put it on social media, whatever you need. It's not a big old, oh my gosh, now we have to design this. Here it is. We put it on there and we send it out. And this is the co-logo with our Cooperative Extension logo attached with our Extension Extended logo, so that we can put it on pictures or whatever, you know, we need to do to brand this and just increase the invisibility for Cooperative Extension as we are going digital.
So what does this look like? We have this strategy and we have these goals and objectives. So how has it been implemented? What is the evidence of our Extension Extended in effect?
So with our youth and families, we have several different documents that go under it. We have resources on how to create a makerspace for kids. So we have some STEM related things for 4-H. We have resources to create a routine for kids while they're home. If you have children, you know that you're on one schedule for work, but your kids may be on another schedule. And to make matters even better, they are out of school and they have homework to do. So how do we make our routine beneficial for our parents and our kids? And also child development while homeschooling, because I'm not a parent yet, but I know that working with children is difficult depending on what age they are. And you may be wanting them to do one thing at 3 years old or 5 years old. They can't sit down and pay attention for a full hour of programming. And so Ages and Stages kind of breaks that down and allows our parents to know that it's okay to be frustrated. Here's what you can do. Here's our solution for you as a parent who is going through a tough transitional phase, and how we can be of help to them. And so those are just a couple of things with youth and family resources. And then also with our small scale farms and gardens, we had a lot of people have questions about, can I still garden while COVID-19 is going on? And the answer is yes. We have a document that kind of addresses the different aspects of gardening while COVID-19 is going on, and actually kind of expressing that it's a great tool to get outside. You don't have to be around a lot of people. It's a way to relieve stress. And so it's kind of like bringing in a lot of different aspects into gardening that people may not know that this is available to them. And then it's also a way for our people who are out in the farms, our farmers, people who are still farming, gardeners to see how you are impacted by COVID-19, because you don't have to contract COVID-19 to be impacted by COVID-19, right? And so this is a way to kind of show people, here's what you can do, here are kind of the guidelines. And so it's just a way to get that information out there.
So nutrition and wellness. So we have several things that fall under here. So resources on how to stay active, as I had mentioned before. Grocery store alternatives. If you can't find something that's not available or in stock at the grocery store, what are some healthy alternatives to replace those ingredients? Meatless meals. I know there's a lot of people who are vegan. So what are some meatless meals? Or as Courtney has stated before, if we don't have any more chicken or ground turkey or ground beef, what are some options that we can use to make some recipes without meat? Food safety. Food safety is always something to be thinking about, and to ensure your health and your wellness for you and your family as you're preparing meals. Pantry essentials. What are some essentials that you can have in your pantry that will help you during this time of social distancing and being at home? What are some items that you can always have that can always be used in a meal? And then hand washing techniques. The CDC is telling us that we should wash our hands for 20 seconds. For 20 seconds. So how can we do that? What are some techniques to teaching our children? Are there any catchy songs or rhymes that we can teach so they can remember always to use those techniques that the CDC has implemented? And then household finances. So we hear about the president giving a stimulus, but while that is in effect and while that is being, that has gone through Congress and things of that nature, there has been many scams for the coronavirus. Fake checks have been sent out. So it's giving information on how our citizens can avoid these scams and how they can detect them, as well as tax filing relief. The tax deadline has been extended, but what does that look like? What does that mean? And what can they still how can they file, and resources of that nature, and then reducing debt. Some people unfortunately have lost their jobs. So how can we reduce the debt during this time if they're on furlough or if they have lost their job and they have to file for unemployment?
And yeah, so again, Ages and Stages is basically the document that kind of talks about the different stages that your children are going through for their ages. And you can just tell with some of these documents that they can be used in a million different ways. A lot of them are general information, but they're specific for COVID-19. But even once COVID-19 is over, there'll be times where we can still share this information. With this is always just good information for forever.
So another part in application is getting stock, the pantry checklist. So we have what we have on social media to our left, and then we have the fact sheet one pager that is on the right. So basically it's the same information for two different platforms. So our fact sheets and one pagers live on a separate website through North Carolina A&T that's specifically for COVID-19. And all of these documents that we have talked about in previous slides live there.
Just one thing to add to that, the website is a beautiful thing because all of our specialists and our agents have been able to really showcase their areas of expertise by coming up with these fact sheets, these one pagers, and with having them all in one central database, is very simple for Kelsey and myself to go in there, grab a link, share some information out, and it's very simple for people to be rerouted back to that website. So when we are sharing our social media forms, it's not recreating the wheel, right? We're just going in, getting what the specialists have shared, and we're creating a post to send out. And so that way it's more impactful, and then it increases engagement on that website also.
So some challenges and positives. Let's start with the positive. So creativity. I am a very creative person, and in this situation, trying to see the silver lining in it, creativity has been explosive. I have been working on many things, and now I have had the opportunity to work with Courtney in times when we were in the office that we weren't. So creativity, the sky is the limit. Anything that you can think of, interactive activities for children, adults, seniors. So through this, with Extension Extended, we've been able to be creative and use our minds and think outside of the box.
Yes, and with creativity also comes collaboration. We are seeing that we are able to reach a lot of our stakeholders, Farm Bureau and other people that we partner with through our social media messages, and they're sharing our information and we're sharing theirs. And so it creates two different things. The one thing and the main thing is getting this information to the citizens of North Carolina. That's our number one focus, always, all the time. And then the second thing that happens is it increases that engagement for us as well as for them, and that visibility, because not only are we sharing their information, they're sharing our information, especially with the NC Connected piece. We're able to really see what's going on in North Carolina, what farms are open for people to come and shop. That's helping our local farmers, thus helping our local economy. There's so many different pieces to this that collaboration is key to being successful when you're trying to go digital, especially with others who are already creating these platforms. You don't have to recreate the wheel for it to really work. So collaboration is key.
And then brand recognition. So now the best kept secret isn't a secret anymore. Everybody, because of all of the collaborations and all of the sharing of content in the website, there's so many platforms that we're spreading out, and our content has increased. So we're able to get that brand recognition. We're able to direct people back to our website. What is Cooperative Extension? Oh, I saw that Ages and Stages one pager that you have, what website you should go to, and from the website, it takes them back to our Cooperative Extension. So our hope would be after COVID-19, they would go to their local Cooperative Extension Center and want to engage with us through programming, through 4-H, any kind of information, and attending classes.
Right. So some of our challenges, our first challenge was definitely gathering the content. And I think because it was an adjustment for everyone, we're all working from home, and that is difficult in itself when you're used to working in the office. And just so getting that information and get it centralized on that website was a huge challenge, but it turned out to be a great opportunity and a huge success now that it's all said and done. But definitely getting the content in one central location to where we could just direct people back here. I'm gonna share a tidbit of information with you, but here for more, go to our website. That was one of the bigger challenges that we had, but it definitely has turned out to be a great opportunity.
So the process. So we, from the start of teleworking to then, it was day after day, sometimes working after 5, sometimes getting calls on the weekend, making sure that you're checking your email, from your email to your mobile device, trying to make sure that things are getting approved. So the process was a lot at first. And then the university came to Cooperative Extension and was like, hey, you all are the outreach arm of the university. We would like this content. So that goes back to gathering content. So it was a very fast process, and then trying to figure out, well, how is that going to fit in with our other tasks that we have while we're teleworking, as well as our regular social media content? Are we sharing links? Are we creating content on graphics? How are we going to do that? It's only Courtney and I, and then our graphic designer. That's only 3 people. So for all our county agents plus the state office, so that's a lot. So coming up with the process was kind of challenging, but we smoothed and ironed out all of the things, and it's paid off.
Right.
Right.
I think the same could be said for the workload. I think that once you realize that what you're doing is directly impacting the lives of others during a national pandemic, a worldwide global pandemic, all of that kind of melts away, even though it is difficult. But one thing that Kelsey and I both have tried to do is to realize that change is okay. We did have a set social media strategy before all of this started happening, but that changes, and that's all right. So just adapting and being flexible has helped out a lot with the workload, and just understanding that change sometimes happens and you have to just go with it.
So are there any questions for us?
Let's see. Check the chat.
Thank you, Scott. And we do have our links, 2 slides back from here. We have our links to our website. And then Deb, I don't know. I know that she said that we were recording this, but I don't, Deb, how could we share our PowerPoint so people can have access to it?
If Deb isn't on, Kelsey, one of the things we are going to do is share the presentation on our ACE homepage. So for those of you that are with e-extension and your colleagues were trying to join us, let them know that there will be a link to this presentation at ACE Web, at our ACE website. And it's amazing because you guys broke our Zoom account. So that's pretty cool. It was the digital.
Hi, sorry about that, Kelsey. Yeah, we can, if you want to send me the link to the PowerPoint, we could post that along with the recording if you'd like.
We have a couple of things in the chat about impact numbers, and we have not yet pulled those analytics yet. We're actually working with the interim communications director for AdCom to gather those numbers, but we should have them within the next coming weeks. But what I will say, without actually having the numbers in front of me, our social media platforms have honestly garnered a lot of attention. We've gotten a lot of new followers, a lot of likes, all of that stuff. And so just from what I've seen so far, I believe that the analytics report will be very positive.
I see another question about how are we pushing information out to those who are not a part of social media subscribers. So I know for the programming side, when the school system closed down first in North Carolina, county by county, and then the governor shut everybody down. So our educators, whether nutrition educators or 4-H, youth development, they kept in contact with those coordinators and those partnerships. So they are pushing information out that sometimes isn't on social media, recording through Google Slides, or trying to basically create the education program that they were going to implement, and they're giving it to that, because I know that they use Canva. So they're trying to figure out how to either put it on Canva or put it on Google Classroom.
So also to add to that, two things. The first thing is that for our lunch and learn, well, we're going to start having lunch and learns that are going to serve as virtual programmings. So it'll be Zoom sessions, but people will be able to sign up for them by way of, they'll be emailed by the specialist, or we'll put it out on social media. And so these people will be able to attend these lunch and learns and learn about various topics, from community gardening or gardening from your home, all types of things. And so that's another way that we are trying to push the information out without necessarily seeing people face to face, or those that may not be on social media, because although we have a huge target audience on social media, we also have a huge target audience that's not on social media. And so one way that we circumvent that is to have our specialists and our agents reach out to their networks and make sure this information is being pushed out on their side, because although they may not be programming in person, they still have a charge to make sure that, you know, people are getting that information. So social media is not the be all end all, but it is a huge piece of what we're doing.
A question is, what are your feelings on sharing non-COVID-19 information? If we continue with our typical social media content, is it seen as being out of tune or insensitive to what's going on?
I would say that it's very healthy to share things non-COVID related, because we need a mental break from that, because all you're hearing is COVID, COVID, COVID. So we need to remind people that even in this time of crisis, we still have some type of normalcy. So my unsolicited advice, or maybe solicited because you are asking, is to continue posting things that are your everyday things. Even, you know, slide in some COVID things for sure to address some of those concerns, and to show people that you are a front runner even when you are in a pandemic, but also show people that, hey, this is what's in season right now. The birds are chirping. Show people the good things that are happening in your community, or even, you know, what they should be on the lookout for when all of this ends. Keep people excited and keep their spirits up. Don't necessarily bog them down every day with COVID related facts or things of that nature. But there's also a way to share information about COVID-19 that doesn't necessarily say like, oh, this is about COVID-19, if that makes sense.
Hello, Clara from FNUP, California. She said that she really liked the pantry list, and is it something that they could obtain? Yes, so we have also with the pantry list is a social media graphic as well as a one-pager, but we also have another graphic, but it's not a one-pager yet, about our refrigerator and freezer checklist. Unfortunately, we do not have it in Spanish yet, but if you were to just tell me which graphic you want, I could get with my nutrition specialist and see if we can send it directly to you. So if you could just shoot me an email, which later on I have my contact information, shoot me an email and I can shoot it over to you.
So we have our social media platforms at the end of the slide. I see someone just asked what social media platforms they can follow us on. We have that on a slide after the questions if you guys want to jot it down, and then I can also just put it in the chat for those that would like it there also.
This is our contact information, our numbers. So we're not at the office. However, we get our voicemail directly to our emails. So once we get the voicemail to our emails and it pops up, we can definitely contact you back. And then our email addresses, because email is probably one of the biggest forms of communication, but for our organization, we communicate all the way. We got GroupMe, group text, Zoom. So, but I know some people are zoomed out. Okay, someone else said they're interested in the checklist. So this is all of our social media platforms. The overall arching organization is on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. The nutrition education programs are only on Facebook. And then there's a link to the actual COVID-19 index with all of those fact sheets and everything like that. To the person who wants the pantry checklist, as I told Clara, If you shoot me an email from my email in the other slide, I can get with you and send you that information. You could just tell me if you want the one page or the social media graphic or both.
And I think we missed one person's comment earlier. They said, great presentation. What feedback are you getting from the public? I would say very positive feedback from the public as of right now. We actually started a couple of challenges for our 4-Hers, and the response to that on Facebook and Twitter, even Instagram, has been really, really good. A lot of the agents are really doing their part in the county to reshare this information and to get it out. So I would definitely say the public is having a very positive response as of right now. Kelsey, they said, could they see the slide with contact information again, please?
Can we all see it?
Yeah.
Any other questions for us? You are welcome.
Yeah, thanks you guys for having us again. We really appreciate it, and the opportunity to share what we're doing and hopefully inspire others to do the same. As I mentioned before, our number one priority are the citizens of wherever we live, the world, citizens of the world, and making sure that people get the information that they need. And so just rest assured that what you're doing is impactful and it matters. And if you are in a position to provide some information and some comfort to those who are going through this pandemic with you, make sure you do that.
And another tidbit, I'm also a mentor for other things, that plan A does not always work, because I can say that we are on plan probably Z. About to start over again. A lot of teamwork, a lot of understanding, and that if it doesn't work okay now, don't look at it as a failure, but look at it as now we know what doesn't work. So now we can go on to another plan, and in the future we we don't know what works, and then just that everybody is a human. So if there's an error, look out for somebody else. Courtney and I really look out for each other. We probably talk 4, 6, 7, 8 times a day, text, FaceTime, Zoom, trying to make sure that her social media content is okay, sharing content, making sure her strength is for my weakness and vice versa. So your coworkers are your family, basically, and that in this, we're all in it together, and this is brand new. None of us have lived through a pandemic unless we're over 100 years old and lived through the Spanish influenza, so.
All right, well, Courtney and Kelsey, thank you both so much for this presentation. This was very, very good information. And I think what they always say that every challenge presents an opportunity. And I think that you have both demonstrated that in a very challenging environment, you have developed come up with an opportunity to share information in a new way. And I think this is going to probably change a lot of the ways we do things in agricultural communications and extension. I think we're going to learn a lot from this, and it's going to really help the way we, disseminate our information in the future. So thank you both again so much for everything that you've done on this. For those of you who couldn't, well, if you couldn't get in, you wouldn't be on this Zoom call. But if you want to pass along to your colleagues that this is going to be on the ACE homepage at aceweb.org, which will be the presentation and the PowerPoint. I'm going to also send an email to Aaron Wiebe at eExtension, let him know where this can be located. And again, I just want to thank both of you so much. This was an incredibly useful and excellent presentation. I think you made history. You broke our Zoom account. So I don't think we've ever had that happen before.
Never.
So I think we need to put you guys in the Hall of Fame for that.
We'll take it.
Yes.
Excellent work. So thank you all so much. And does anyone else have any further questions for Courtney or Kelsey? Okay, well, if not, I guess pardon me?
I have a question. Would you
Sure, go ahead.
Stated the link. Would you please share the actual link, because it took me somewhere else when I tried.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Deb, could you share that link in the chat, please? It's aceweb.org. So Deb will share that in the chat.
Oops.
There it is, right there.
Thank you so much.
You are very, very welcome. And again, thank you all. Sorry for a little bit of a glitch at the beginning there, but it was well worth the wait, as they say. Sometimes it's worth the wait for things, and this was definitely worth the wait. So again, thank you all so much for joining us. If there are no further questions, I guess we can call this a very successful webinar. And again, thanks to Kelsey and Courtney. Incredible work. And again, you guys make us proud and ACE. So thank you very much for what you've done.
Hi, everybody. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you for having us.
Bye.
Bye.